welcome to Let Me Know How It Is, a pop culture podcast about TV, movies, comics, and all things geek. We had so much fun the first time, we're bringing it back. This is Definitive 5-2. I'm Zach Slater.
I'm Frank Melman.
This is Tommy Smithery.
And I'm Clifton.
Okay, so if you didn't catch our first Definitive 5 episode, this is how it works. Frank has a list of characters for pop culture. For each of these characters, we all decide which of the 5 media categories is home to the definitive version. Film, comics, TV, animation, or video games. Those are the 5 that we're going to pick from. So, Frank, take the wheel.
Sure thing. The other thing to remember is whatever one you choose, the other 4 categories go away. So, for example, if you choose comic books for a character, they're no longer available to you as a movie, a television show, a video game, or
animation. I think we split off animation as the 5th.
Right.
Right. So if you pick TV as your definitive version of, I don't know, Casper the Friendly Ghost,
right?
That's all you get.
That's all you get.
That's all you no longer get the old Harvey comics,
no,
right?
or the Christina Ricci movie,
right? There's no Christina Ricci movie. That's it. That's all you get. So keep that in mind. So basically, like, we're playing against ourselves, as well as, you know, taking in what everyone else is choosing as a definitive take. All right, everybody ready?
Yes.
All right, so the first character is Raven from the Teen Titans.
I'm thinking.
Animation.
All right. Tommy's coming in with animation.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think that's where I know the character the most. I've probably encountered the most of Raven.
Right.
As an animated character versus, you know, I haven't watched Titans.
Right.
You know, and comic wise, you know, I've read Teen Titans here and there and, you know, in event books where she's popped up. But yeah,
Right.
I would say animation.
Clifton?
Yeah. No, I mean, I have to go there for some of the same reasons. Animation. I've never actually read I know all the stories from the Wolfman Perez New Teen Titans run, but I've never read them myself.
Gotcha.
So just not too familiar there. Animation from the Teen Titans original cartoon. Than Teen Titans Go, which again, haven't watched much of, so that's why it's not that. I do like Titans. I do like the actress that plays her in Titans, but definitely just more familiar with her from the Titans cartoon, the first Titans cartoon, which I did like a lot.
Gotcha.
And that one is voiced by Tara Strong.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I like the animated one from Teen Titans, or I guess it's, Teen Titans, original Teen Titans animated.
Right.
I like her in that. I even like the version we get in, like, a lot of the direct to Blu-ray or DVD.
Yeah, those I haven't seen the ones with any of the Teen Titans in them yet either. Like the Justice League versus Teen Titans, that's one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They did a Judas Contract and she's got a big role in Apocalypse War.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I haven't seen those. Do they use the same voice actors for those 3 appearances? Well, the same voice actress that isn't Tara Strong, but amongst those 3, they use a recurring voice actress.
I think so.
Yeah, I believe so too.
I think they do. Yeah.
But I'm going to have to go with, let me see. I haven't seen Titans yet, so I don't really know. So I haven't seen the live action. I'm going to go not go video games. I'm going to go comics.
Okay.
Because that's I was going to say, does she even appear in a video game anywhere?
She's got to be in, like, Injustice, right?
Right.
Tommy, is she in video games?
Yeah, she's in Injustice.
Yeah,
is she? Okay.
Yeah. She would be.
That's right, she is. Okay. But yeah, I'm going to go comics. That's where I first encountered the character, was in the Wolfman Perez stuff. While I really like the Teen Titans one, I think that character's great. She's just not the same character she is in the comics.
Right.
So that's my only thing. I would go with comics for now for that one.
Okay.
Has she been in Young Justice yet? Refresh my memory. Has she popped up in season 3?
I don't think she
Not
has.
that I can remember.
I don't think she is.
I don't think we've gotten her or Starfire yet, have we?
No, nobody from the Teen Titans except for Beast Boy.
Cyborg,
Beast Boy, and
Robin. Yeah.
And Tara.
And Kid Flash.
We got Tara too.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
No Jericho yet.
All right, very good. So three for animation and then 1 for comics for writing. All right, very good. All right, next character is Yoda. What's your definitive take on Yoda?
I mean, Empire Strikes Back for me.
So movies?
Yeah, so movies. Definitely movies for me.
Zach, you saying the same thing?
I'm thinking Because
Okay.
I think it's Empire Strikes Back, which is awesome, but I'm also like, do I want to pick it for the prequels for that reason? You know, no, and the only thing that's kind of it's the movies. Clift is right. It's Empire Strikes Back.
I like the angry Muppet.
But the only thing that's given me a little hang up is the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars, because Yoda is awesome in those.
I mean, there's good appearances elsewhere.
Sure. Well, that's what I was thinking, was the idea
but can you lose Gendy's Clone Wars? That's the question. Could you live in a world without Gendy's Clone Wars?
I don't know. I don't know if I have the strength, but
which is now just recently added to Disney Plus for anyone who hasn't seen it yet.
Oh, it's so good. But no, I don't think I could live in a world without Empire Strikes Back, though.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing. Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Sorry, Genndy.
Tommy, what about you?
Oh, movies for sure. Empire's the franchise.
Yeah. I agree with that one.
You don't get anything else without Empire.
Right. I'm trying to think if there's anything. No, I think you're pretty right. Well, except for the fact that you'd have to have Star Wars in order to do it again when J.J. Abrams does it.
Sure, but yeah, exactly.
So without that as a guide, it's a guide for that movie. You wouldn't get that without getting A New Hope.
Has there been Yoda video game appearances? Well, I guess probably like Lego Star Wars. He's probably been playable in a Lego Star Wars, right?
Oh, I'm sure of that. Yeah, it's
which
probably
is
in
always
that.
fun.
Trying to think. Is he anything else? He's got to be in something else.
Soul Calibur.
Was he?
Yeah. There's a bit with Soul Calibur where they branch out, do other characters for Mortal Kombat. I forget. Somebody does a character from Tekken. Somebody does like Spawn or somebody, and then
that sounds right.
Like
no, I take that back.
DLCs.
Yeah, it was not DLCs. It was like they branched out and put 3 separate characters on a different system. One went to Xbox, one went to GameCube, and one went to PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
The one that went to GameCube was Yoda's.
Okay.
It was just flipping back and forth. This came for the prequels. That's what they used the
right
premise.
From Attack of the Clones.
Mhm.
For clarification, Mandalorian does not count because Grogu is a completely different character, even though people call him Baby Yoda.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So yeah,
we're talking about classic Yoda.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Not something, not one of his people or whatever.
That Grogu's darn cute though, man.
Sure, of course.
And not Yaddle from the prequels.
Right. Yeah, you could still have Grogu, you just couldn't have Yoda if you gave up.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going with movies. I think this is I think it's a full sweep. I don't see how you couldn't have, I don't think the character is much better. I mean, Empire is it. I don't think is going to be a better performance. I like some of the stuff in, is it Last Jedi?
Like the Ghost Yoda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of that. I've seen a little bit of Clone Wars. I've read some of the Jason Aaron stuff with Yoda. But yeah, I think the movies, that's the one I have to go with for sure.
Mm. But definitely check out Gendy's Clone Wars if you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. Oh, it is great. All right, who's next? Number 3.
All right, number 3 is Magneto.
Ooh.
What's your definitive 5? TV, movies, video games, comics, animation.
There's been good iterations.
Yes, there have.
There's been a lot of solid iterations. Both of the movie Magnetos are good. Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender. Yeah,
at one point there was talk of well, they originally talked at one point about doing a bunch of X-Men Origins movies.
Right.
And I think some of the stuff that they were going to do that they folded into Fassbender's like
first class, yeah.
The bit where he goes and finds the Nazis.
Yeah, and I do think that was a great choice for that movie.
Yeah, I think so too.
Magneto hunting Nazis is great.
Sure.
I don't know if you get a whole movie out of it, but you get like a good solid chunk of a good movie out of it. So I think that was the right decision in the end.
Yeah. I mean, even though I'd watch a movie with Nazis with Magneto and Nazis.
Just that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd like to see the X-Men issue. It's like it's in the 150s, which basically gives you, young Charles and young Eric Leshner, and they're where they meet, where Charles has to help Gabriel Haller,
okay,
Legion's mom, and all that all comes together. You know,
Right.
it's kind of like, you know, back when they were friends long before everything happens in the early 60s. I think
Mhm.
that would have been a cool movie had they made that, but they didn't do it.
Yeah.
So, not that I'm saying movies is my choice. I'm just saying.
Right.
I am. I think.
Are you?
I'm gonna go with movies. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So
Because
no.
the thing I think about like I think the Xavier Magneto relationship is so great in the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's I think that may be my favorite aspect of the character.
Okay.
Is
That's that relationship, not the character yourself?
No. I like the backstory behind that, and I like the friendly antagonistic.
Like the portrayal of it
Yeah,
in that version.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the Coldplay video, like the fan video that it was made with the first class footage?
No.
No.
Oh, it's so good. You can find this. It was on a Conan O'Brien show at Comic-Con. So when Conan O'Brien would do Comic-Con, he has on the full cast from those X-Men movies. So it's after First Class, but before Apocalypse, I think. So I think it's the cast for Apocalypse.
Mm.
But he shows a video that somebody had made of like Magneto and Charles from like just footage set to Coldplay.
Jeez.
And it's them like their anguish and like Charles like them saving each other and like Fassbender and McAvoy loved it. Like they are like dying laughing watching this video. It is so good. Check it out. But their relationship set to Coldplay. It's so good.
So Zach, no video game Magneto, no.
Right. And I was going to say, like, now you got no Pride of the X-Men, where Magneto was apparently 8 feet tall,
Yeah,
according
I know,
to that
right?
one model sheet
Yeah.
we saw.
No Pride of the X-Men. Yeah.
Yes. Is he in Evolution or the
No,
93? He's in the 93
yeah, he's
one.
good. He's good in X-Men Evolution. He's in
Yeah.
that Christmas episode that I like a lot too.
Oh, yeah,
I
that
think.
is a good one
Yeah.
on Angel's Wings.
Okay.
So that's gone. So,
Yeah.
like, for me, I got to go comics, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As I brought up before, God Loves, Man Kills.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One of my
Sure.
favorites of all time.
Sure.
Magneto's pivotal in that. But I do like just growing up in the comics of having the back and forth, like the heel turns and face turns from Magneto's. I always liked seeing play out when I was younger and reading the books. Cause I'm like,
Mhm.
wait, he's like a good guy now? Kind of?
Right.
What's going on? Like,
Right. He's training the new mutants. What are you guys doing?
right. Why are you trusting this man with kids?
Right.
Yeah. And I do like that kind of like disorientation that I would feel reading those books when I was a
Mhm.
kid. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess like he does get a second chance. So I go comics.
Very good. I'm going comics too. When I think of the character and like you said, like the various iterations, you know, like when he had that weird kind of purpley costume that had just the big M on it
Right.
around X-Men
Oh
2,
yeah.
around X-Men 200, like when they did the trial of Magneto,
Yeah.
when he like basically goes on trial for crushing the submarine full of guys, and Charles is, you know, goes off this base. He's like, take care of the kids, adios. And like you said, he's basically he's around and he's part of the X-Men, but he's not. He sort of
Yeah.
is, sort of not, and then.
Yep.
But like from the beginning, he's that counterpoint to Charles, and he's got that whole thing of like, nope, we're superior to these humans.
Mhm.
You know, we're not gonna get along with them. We're gonna rule over them. That whole thing. I mean, I would hate to miss out on Pride of the X-Men or the video game stuff, and I love the movies. I love First Class. I think Fassbender's, as much as I like Surrey and McKellen, I like Fassbender as a young Magneto. I thought he was really, really
Yeah.
good. And like I said, I'd
He's
hope for more.
He's even the best thing about Apocalypse, which is not very good, but he's
No.
good in it. Like
Yeah.
his stuff is good in it. So
Oh yeah, he's got. There's some great character stuff. It's one of those things where, if they chose, if they were able to pick and choose stuff from that universe of stuff for whatever they decide for the MCU, I would keep Fassbender.
yeah, and he ages great.
He does. That's part, but that's part of the reason why I would keep him is the fact that he's not. For however old he is, he certainly doesn't look like he's much older than when he started and did First Class. I don't think.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So I think you
So,
could.
I don't know what happens between like Dark Phoenix is set in the 90s and the first X-Men set in the 2000s. So something happens to that Magneto that turns Fassbender into Ian McKellen.
He ages 60 years in in a few months.
Well, to be fair, like in the comics, at one point, Magneto gets devolved to being a baby again, and
Right.
they hope that maybe it was a nature versus nurture thing, that he can be raised to be a better person the second time around. It doesn't take,
Right. Yeah.
that kind of thing. But yeah, that's where I first encountered the character. That's where I've always, there's so many episodes, so many issues with Magneto just being the consummate supervillain. So I would definitely go with the comics. Tommy, how about you?
Oh, comics. Easily.
Yeah.
Only 2 good movies. The rest I'd wipe out, in my opinion. Animation. Only 1 good series that I actually cared to watch, despite how many depictions he has in it. Video games. No one picked him in X-Men versus Marvel versus Capcom. So definitely comics.
Cool. All right. Next character. Ash Williams. What's your definitive take on Ash Williams?
Movies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're all about the boomstick.
Oh, man, that's classic. You can watch that 1,000 times over, 20 years ago, 20 years in the future. It carved out his career.
It's a good one.
Debut.
It's a good one. He's one of that was when I was reading up on him today. It said that he's one of the only Bruce Campbell's the only one of the few actors to play the character in every iteration.
Right.
Yeah. It's
Like
almost like
he shows up
There's
for
been
it.
other iterations?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
video games,
Yeah.
yeah,
the TV show
Yeah.
that he also stars in.
he
Yes.
shows up every
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The TV show ran 3 seasons
Yeah.
Yeah.
on Stars, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Apparently when there was a soft reboot, he's even in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You can't see him without being the character.
no. It'd be a tough one to find someone else to do that, to be that part.
That character's going to die with him.
You know, what's funny about the Bruce Campbell backstory is I feel like a lot of people know this, but some people might not know this, is that he grew up with the Raimis.
Mm.
He grew up with Sam Raimi, most notably, and Ted Raimi, Sam's brother, who you know as Joxer from Xena and Hercules, as well as other Sam Raimi other appearances in Sam Raimi stuff. But they would make movies in high school, apparently, is what I read.
Mm-hmm.
And they would take turns, be in the different roles in making their kid home movies.
Right.
And then they figured out Bruce Campbell, like if Bruce Campbell was the star, the girls would watch their movies. And if Sam and Ted were the stars, the girls would not watch their movies. And that's how Bruce Campbell became their leading man,
Gotcha.
is how the story goes.
That makes sense. I can see that. Yeah. On a side note, I'm hoping he shows up in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he's got some, even if he's the
He
usher.
will.
Even if he's just the usher, I'm hoping he shows up.
Yeah.
But I will say movies. I don't, I played. There's a video game that he voices. It's pretty cool to play. I'm thinking I'm talking like I think it's like PlayStation 2.
Okay, I was going
correctly.
to ask what system it was on.
I don't know if it's still available on one of the PlayStation platforms or not. But I know that was I think. But it was fun because it was it was actually him. I haven't seen the TV show. Tommy, have you seen it?
I know of it. I wasn't a huge Evil Dead 2 fan. I just liked him from Xena. He was always entertaining from Xena.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was a chance where you thought you'd get to meet him, right?
Yeah. I was working at a hotel in Baltimore when he came in, and I just missed him.
Yes.
They told me he was down to earth, cool dude, relaxed. He's the guy that you would have a beer with, even if he didn't drink beer with. Yeah, very relaxed and down to earth.
Yeah, I remember that. You remember the deal was it was like if you see him,
Yeah, and
let me know.
Yeah.
And he did. Yeah,
and I did.
He has a good cameo in Fargo season 2, I found out.
Oh, it's a great cameo in
Oh,
Fargo
great
season
cameo in
2.
Fargo season
So worth
2.
it just to watch it for that.
Yeah.
It's a great show.
Yeah,
It's a great season for Fargo.
yeah, great season of Fargo and a fantastic cameo.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen the Evil Dead show, the first season of the TV show.
Okay.
I have not seen the latter 2 seasons yet, but I did like the first season a lot. It's very good.
Okay.
He's great in it. But I still got to go movies.
Yeah.
Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness particularly.
Great stuff.
I'm going to go movies because I didn't know that the character appeared in anything else. So
Well, was it Dynamite or I didn't know.
Dynamite had the license, I think, for a long time.
Dynamite had the license for a long time, and he's like, there's teaming up. I think there's him and Wildstorm had it at one point. And there was a Freddy.
Okay.
It was a Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Ash story. Like I think there's a couple miniseries. I think there's 2 of those.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then Dynamite had it for a while, and then like there's a Marvel Zombies versus the Army of Darkness where he's in that against Marvel characters.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure there's an Army of Darkness Xena. I'm like anything they had a license for at the time, Dynamite did cross him over with. So there's a bunch of comic stuff, and I like some of that comic stuff. But I got to go movies. I think the movies is where the definitive character is. And like I agree with Tommy that you could watch it, 20 years in the past, 20 years in the future, whatever. It's always going to be a great movie. Both of them, Army of Darkness or Evil Dead. So, all right, moving on. Next character is Wildcat.
So some of the people might not know Wildcat's a little less known than some of the others. So just a refresher on Wildcat for anyone who's not familiar.
Sure. Wildcat is his alter ego is boxer Ted Grant.
Yep.
So he was a founding member of the JSA. Been in the comics since the 30s or 40s.
Right.
Basically, he's just a guy in a cat suit. Didn't have these superpowers. Kind of toughs it out. Trained a bunch of various people throughout the DCU, like Catwoman and Black Canary, just name a few.
Yeah.
But he's been in a bunch of different stuff. So.
And this is a prior version of Wildcat. There have been multiple versions of Wildcat. Yolanda Montez is the current version that appears on the Stargirl show, if you're familiar with that one.
Yes.
So it's the version that she got the costume from in Stargirl.
Yeah, she was Wildcat 2 in the comics.
Right.
So, so yes, what's your definitive take on Wildcat?
For my definitive take, I'm going animation for Wildcat.
Okay.
Most notably for the Justice League appearances in the Justice League show.
Yeah, I am too. I'm saying, voiced by Dennis Farina in Justice League Unlimited, which is awesome.
That is pretty great.
He's really, really good. But what's the dude from Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah, I thought you could say that. I thought for sure, Zach, you were gonna say Raven the Bold with R. Lee Ermey.
Yeah, he's great too. He's there's not many appearances of Wildcat in all of animation, but they're all good. He's not in a bad episode.
They are good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that version appeared on Arrow on TV as well.
That's right.
There has been a TV appearance of that of the Ted Grant.
Yeah. Yeah, you get that bit in what's the one about because Batman gets aged. It's Degaton, right? In the Brave and the Bold episode, Batman gets aged to their age. Right?
Oh, right. Yeah, the JSA episode. Yeah.
Because R. Lee Ermey has a line about, I turn around for 1 second, you're an elderly man now covered with robots or something like that.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
It is a good episode.
Golden Age of Justice.
There you go.
That's a really good one. Yep. Season 2.
Yeah, I don't think he's been in any video game stuff, so that would rule that out.
And
then I was kind of disappointed that he's not mentioned for Black Adam.
Right.
I was hoping with all the JSA stuff as well as the animated. I was hoping with the JSA stuff that they were listing that we would get another, Wildcat appearance somewhere in there.
Yeah, I don't think his stuff from New Frontier is in the movie either.
No, I don't.
Right?
Well, did they go?
They go to Vegas. I can't remember if it's a boxing match. They may be. I mean,
yeah, it's hard to remember. I don't remember if it's not. I just remember it being that Flash sequence, right?
Yeah, it is the Flash. I mean, he's on a poster in the movie for sure.
Okay.
I remember because in the comic he fights Cassius Clay.
Yeah, exactly.
And then in the movie they changed the boxer's name to be Cook as a nod to Darwin Cook.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tommy, what do you think?
I have to go animation too, just because as much as I know there's stories about him, the JSA and stuff, but nothing really stands out or comes to mind. So I'd have to go with the most memorable depiction of the character, which was in what you guys mentioned earlier. So I have to go with animation.
Gotcha. I'm going to go with comics.
All right.
Just because I like, I like Jeff Johns' run with JSA. He's good in that. There's a lot of good Wildcat stuff. But my earliest remembrance of Wildcat as a character is, and I mentioned it before, it's a Brave and the Bold issue where where it's Batman and Wildcat they're in a boxing ring and they're fighting one another, and they have like, you remember the issue?
Oh yeah. I remember the cover. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the two of them and the Joker's in the background egging them on, and they're fighting, and they have like these 3-inch spikes on both sides of their gloves, so they're both punching each other with, it's a Jim Aparo cover. They're fighting and they're throwing these haymakers with these spikes on their gloves, and it's one of the things where even as a kid I was like, God, that's brutal. How are they doing this? But still, that's where I first saw Wildcat, and it's one of those things where they just have to beat each other senseless, fighting each other. So
every time I see that cover, I think of the Simpsons episode where Homer becomes a boxer.
You
remember?
Oh yeah.
And then Moe's his trainer, and because Moe was an old time boxer, and he gives him his old gloves, and he's like, "What's this, Moe?" And it's like barbed wire is wrapped around the glove. And he goes, "Oh, you're right. Yeah, they used to call that the Stinger. Yeah. They don't let you use that no more."
Yeah, they let you. Yeah, same thing. Where I'm just like, God. And you can feel like that's one of those books, like sometimes you flip through a comic, you read a comic, and you're like, the action's kind of all right. That one, you feel the punch of every thrown punch you feel. Everyone. And it may just be that Aparo is a great storyteller in that, but it's also the idea of like, those spikes, their faces would just be like bloody mush.
Yeah.
By the end of the fight. So
it'd be like pulled pork.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
So what was that? 3 animation, 1 comics.
Yes, I went with comics. All right, next, Veronica Lodge.
I like her a lot on Riverdale, but I'm going to go comics, I think.
Riverdale's bonkers.
Yeah.
I enjoy Riverdale, but I like the character too on there. I was trying to think. I mean, obviously there was the old Filmation cartoon with the Archies.
Right.
And she's in that. And I think for some reason they give her like a Southern accent, which I never understood.
Oh, that's weird.
She's like a Southern belle.
Kind of. Right. I mean, I guess it's more along the lines of the idea that, she's high society of Riverdale, and that's why they went with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess.
There was an Archie's Weird Mysteries cartoon from Deke.
Oh, that's right.
Like sometime in the late 90s, probably.
Right.
So there have been a couple cartoon versions.
Yeah, because the Filmation one, like they would play like some of those cartoons from the 70s, they would have some kind of a band aspect. And obviously there was the Archies with Sugar Sugar.
Right.
But
Jingle Jangle, that's my favorite song by the Archies.
It's addictive.
Yeah.
So if you watch Riverdale, you know that Jingle Jangle is like it's like what it's the crack
it's their drug. It's like their student made narcotic that the kids sell.
Yes.
But it was a song by the Archies, so that is where they got the name from.
But yeah. So I don't know, it's hard. I mean, I think I've told this story before of when I was a kid, the local grocery store that we went to in South Texas, like they occasionally had stuff, occasionally you get like a digest of something else, like one of the DC digests, or they would have a random DC or Marvel comic. But usually all this grocery store had when the magazine rack for comics was, they had either Savage Sword of Conan or all the Archie comics. Like that was the 2 choices. So my mom would go shop,
and I'd be like, the other, they're the same.
Sure, I mean, I'm 11, and I'm like, I'm just like at that point, anything comics, I'm like, yeah, please. So I would remember I would read the Archie comics till either I got bored and then would go find my mom, or my mom would get done and be like, come on, we're going, or I would read the Savage Sword of Conan. So I've read a fair amount of Archies, and I would have to go with the comics on this one. Even though I do like the absurdity of just how over the top and ridiculous the idea of Veronica Lodge running a speakeasy in Riverdale in high school,
right?
Under Pop's chocolate shop in the basement.
Yeah.
I feel like she's more likable in Riverdale than she is in the comics, and I feel like the comics are supposed to be a little bit of a she's snobby and slightly unlikable.
She has a certain Reggie. She has a certain Reggie quality, not like as bad.
Yeah.
But she's also like, it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, other than the fact that every now and then she just does something that's crappy.
Right.
She just does something that's kind of like, I'm not, or something that's selfish, or something that's not, not great. And then you're kind of like, oh, well, Veronica's not that nice. So
yeah, I mean, in the comics, a lot they don't try to make her likable in a lot of the comics.
right.
It's just supposed to be that she's rich, beautiful, and glamorous, and like that's supposed to be the draw.
Right.
Sometimes that's what they do. So
Yeah.
like, it's nice to see her have heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like
It
in
is.
the Wade stuff, she comes off a lot better. Like she's definitely,
Definitely the more modern stuff.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
Wade
I was saying
and
Mark
Nick
Wade's
Spencer more recently. And,
in Mark Wade's like in his ongoing Archie, the one that had the ongoing continuity was
Mhm.
she was. I mean, she's definitely played up as like she's lived a life and she's been all over the place and now she's
Yeah.
stuck in Riverdale.
Right.
And then when you put her up against someone like Cheryl Blossom when she comes in the book later,
Yeah.
Ronnie's a saint compared to
Right.
how terrible Cheryl is when she first
Yeah.
blows into town.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd go with the comics. That's just the one. I mean, that's the classic for me. That's the version I like the most. I think.
yeah.
Tommy.
Oh, I was gonna say animation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my introduction to the characters. I'm not picking up Archie's comic. That's just something that has to be laid in front of me, and like, yeah, that's a thing.
You could read the Savage Sword of Conan while I read Little Archie, or
I'm definitely picking Conan over Archie.
Gals and Pals.
Yeah.
No afterlife with Archie. You're saying no to that,
oh yeah,
right? That's a good point too. I just
I
thought
didn't
of
think
that.
about that. Yeah, that's another good one.
I want them to animate it. It was jarring. You kidding me?
Yeah.
They took away part of my childhood with Afterlife. To see what they do in the opening book. Have you read Afterlife with Archie or whatever?
Yeah, it's great.
Oh my God, it's jarring.
I love it. Yeah.
It's Walking Dead meets Archie. I never asked for that.
Yeah,
My hardest pull was Riverdale. I love Riverdale.
yeah.
So no animation. It was just that and Sugar man. Jesus,
Yeah,
it's just infectious, man. Come on, man.
that is. It's a good bubblegum pop song
It is.
for sure.
Yes. So animation for me.
Okay, very good.
It's a tough split for me between comics and Riverdale because I love Riverdale. I
Right.
talk about it. It's probably come up like every episode for the last 5 episodes somehow for me, and I don't know how, but I'm gonna go comics.
Because we never get Riverdale without comics.
Yeah, I mean, there's the old stuff, like the classic stuff's great, but like the modern art, like the modern comics they've done since about 2014, I guess, is when it started. Probably has been all great stuff because you got Afterlife with Archie, which is the Archie horror book,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which is, I mean, that stuff existed before because you did have like the Archie's Weird Mysteries that the previous cartoon played off of and Sabrina's Suspense Story. So in that world, there were like weird things happening and Afterlife with Archie isn't far of a stretch from that, except making it more gruesome and graphic.
Right.
And with art by Frank Avila, written by Roberto Aguirre Sacasa.
Mhm.
And then you also had the launch at the time of the comic written by Mark Waid that had a bunch of different creators on it over the time, a bunch of different artists on it over the time. But Fiona Staples was an early artist on it, and I love Fiona Staples' art. Nick Spencer wrote an iteration of it later, but you had different artists on it, tons of different cover artists. And that stuff was like really well done, I thought, for being all ages, but like sophisticated in a way that the previous Archie stuff wasn't. And I liked it a lot. So comics from me.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, so what was the total on that one? What do we go with?
I think 2 comics, 1 TV, and 1 animation.
All right, very good. If you're scoring at home. All right, next character is Nightcrawler. What's your definitive take on Nightcrawler, gentlemen?
Again, been some good versions.
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot of good ones.
Comics.
Okay.
I love Excalibur.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I love his run on the X-Men. His initial run on the X-Men. They make that clear.
Right.
Not the later stuff. The later stuff, him being a priest, I don't care for too much, but I get it.
yeah,
I love the movies,
Yeah.
but I'd rather get what's his name, Alan Cummings version,
Right.
as opposed to the younger kid,
Mhm.
which isn't bad. But Alan Cummings sells it more with X-Men United.
Right.
What else is there? Animation is nice, but X-Men Evolution
Yeah.
is really where he stands out the most to me.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
where they gave him the
Me
most
too.
to do.
you say you didn't really care for the pre-stuff. I really like the episode. Isn't it the X-Men? There's an episode of the '93 one with the only episode he's in. Has he only got one episode?
Yeah, he's in 1 or 2 only of the 90s series. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where he basically explains his whole this is this is what I believe and this is why I do this and da da da. I think that it's one of the few times I bought the idea of him being a priest.
Mm-hmm.
I thought was really well done in that.
He's really good in Pride of the X-Men, though, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's really, really good in there. I say animation for that. And it was like, because I was thinking, I'm like, movies. I'm like, that opening of X-Men 2 was so good.
It is.
In the White House. That, like, just to see his powers, like done like that, you just see, like, how much of a threat he would be.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But then I'm like, but that's, like, really his only movie. He's in one of the first class ones. I can't remember if it's Apocalypse or Dark Phoenix or whatever. And I like the kid that played him, but
yeah, it's Apocalypse, I believe.
He didn't have a lot to do.
Right.
And then I was thinking, it was like cartoons, and I was like, yeah, he's got like one episode of the 90s, and then and maybe one in like Wolverine and the X-Men, I can't remember. And then it hit me. I was like, oh, X-Men Evolution. Yeah, he's awesome in that.
Right.
And he's used a lot in X-Men Evolution. So
yeah, I like him in that opening, like you said, of X2 is amazing. It's so good. And it's one of the things where I was always hoping that the character would stick around and that we would have got a little more of the swashbuckling.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Nightcrawler that we get in the comics.
Yeah.
A lot more of the, that Nightcrawler with a sword to me is just like, oh, you're
right.
done. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
How are you going to defend from that?
Especially when he uses his tail to hold the sword.
Right. Yep. Right. All that stuff. So that, and then like, I still haven't seen much of Evolution. Like I said, I like the 93 animated one. Every now and then the video game I play him in the stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
I like playing Nightcrawler. That was fun. But I'd have to go. I mean, there's not really TV. So I'd go with comics. I mean, there's just so many stuff in like issues like Tommy was saying, like with Excalibur, and then there's the stuff with the Byrne Claremont stuff, and the character just visually was always really cool to me. And then there was just the whole thing of like, as a character, he was one of the few X-Men that before they came up with the image inducer, the workaround,
right?
He was the one of the deference that you felt. I always felt for him because he was always seemed like he was just a great person.
Yeah,
that just happened to be, like it's again going back to God Loves Man Kills, when Stryker, is having having that debate at the end, and Stryker points to Nightcrawler like, how can you dare to call something this, like, how can you say this is human?
Right.
And at that point, I've read, all the Byrne Claremont stuff, and I'm like, Kurt's amazing. What are you talking about? He's he's such a great person, such a great character. How dare you say that Kurt's not human because he doesn't look like what you think a human being should look like, quote unquote.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with comics. I would hate to lose. As much as I wanted to still see Evolution, I would hate to lose out on the comic stuff.
Yeah, he was one of the ones. So Nightcrawler appears in animation. You said Pride of the X-Men Evolution. He also appeared in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Oh, that's right.
Which was my first introduction to him and the X-Men in general, and most of the Marvel heroes in any form. My introduction was through Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Mm-hmm. And it was one of the ones where like it really jumped out at me as a kid to see like a hero character that was, looked like a demon.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved those X-Men appearances even when I was a kid, because I was like, what's the deal with these people? And it was one of the things that then got me into comics and got me into X-Men was through Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. But I have to choose the comics because like Excalibur was my favorite comic growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of the main characters in that. Plus you get God Loves Man Kills. And so I have to go comics just because like that's where I most knew him from. And that's where I experienced the most Nightcrawler stories.
So we had, what's the score on this one?
2 comics, 2 animation. Was that right?
Do we need a tiebreaker? Can we ask our engineer? Should we ask our engineer?
I have to go with comic books.
Okay.
Very good. Comics it is.
No more X-Men Evolution.
No.
Poor Zach.
All right, ready for the next character.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Venkman of the Ghostbusters.
Oh.
Famously portrayed by Bill Murray.
Yes.
And Lorenzo Music.
Yes.
Right.
In the real Ghostbusters cartoon.
Yes. What's your definitive take on?
I like Lorenzo Music a lot.
Yes.
For the record. This is harder than it should be.
Isn't it?
It is. Because he's awesome in real Ghostbusters.
Yes.
The cartoon.
He really is.
Yeah. I haven't played the video game.
It's one of the, I mean, it's an unofficial sequel. I mean, it's probably it's all. I mean, I don't know what Afterlife is going to give us.
Right.
You know, there's talk of them, you know, reprising roles again, and he was in Answer the Call, but he wasn't as Peter Venkman. So,
Right.
But Bill Murray was in it, but he just wasn't that. So, but there's rumors that we're going to get them all in After the Call. We just don't know yet, or not in. I'm sorry, Afterlife. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is hard. I haven't read a lot of the comics.
Yeah.
Maybe a team up here and there where like they did like a Ninja Turtles Ghostbusters crossover a little while ago, which is cool. It's neat.
Right. Yeah, I think there's like Transformers, some other stuff too.
I'm going movies.
Okay.
I mean, you don't get all the other versions without Bill Murray having like that take on it.
Right.
Which is just him, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the thing was that, you know, there was a lot of casting. Like at one point, when Dan Aykroyd came up with the idea, like it was supposed to be something for him and John Belushi to do. There was talk of Eddie Murphy being in Ghostbusters at one point. And it was kind of like when they had, you know, Harold Ramis and Aykroyd together, they kind of like roped Bill Murray into it. And a lot of the stuff that he did was kind of like, yeah, it's in the script, but you know, if you want to ad lib, do your thing, and they let him do his thing. And yeah, I agree with you that you don't really have the other stuff without that. So I'd go with movies too.
I liked Real Ghostbusters a lot.
I did too.
I did love that show. It was such a good show. And the funny thing I thought about is that you had Lorenzo Music doing the voice for Peter Venkman in the cartoon.
Yeah.
And this is another fun fact that some people might know, but it's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that Lorenzo Music was the voice of Garfield in all of the Garfield animation stuff, we all grew up on, everyone knows. And then Lorenzo Music passed away, I think, before they did the Garfield movies.
The Breckenmeyer one, that one?
Like any Garfield movies, any of the live action CG Garfield movies. And then Bill Murray did the voice of Garfield. So Lorenzo Music voiced a Bill Murray character, and Bill Murray voiced a Lorenzo Music character after Lorenzo Music. And I always thought that was a fun fact.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And they're both kind of perfect to be each other, I think. Like, I mean, yeah.
But I still have to go movies. Just Ghostbusters 1, I loved as a kid. And 2, I loved as a kid.
Tommy?
Oh, movies. I don't have to think. I've seen the Real Ghostbusters.
Yes.
I've played the games, watched everything. Bill Murray.
Is he the voice of him in the games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he came back and did that.
Wow.
Because a long time he fought the idea of doing a sequel for the longest time because he didn't want to do it, and then at one point I think he was like, he did the whole I'm too old for this. But yeah, he was the closest he got. Like he finally was like, I did the video game, and that's what you're gonna get basically.
Yeah,
which is good. He's good in it. It's fun, but it's not the same as an actual live action. So, all right. So we went with. So are we did a full sweep on that one? Movies.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right. Very good. On to the next one. Poison Ivy. What's your definitive take on Poison Ivy?
Gotham. I'm kidding. It's terrible.
Uma Thurman.
Yes. And Bane in a gorilla suit, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm like the one thing I will say about Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy is Uma Thurman is the only person who knew what movie she was in.
Yes. I go with that too.
She was not afraid to play that big.
Yes. Well, basically just doing Mae West.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not that that's a bad thing. I mean, I like, I'm a fan of Uma's. I like Uma Thurman. I enjoyed her stuff over the years, but yeah, it was just one of those, in that movie, I'm not sure if she realized what the character was. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's not really a live action. It's not like you have a Poison Ivy in the Batman 66 to point to or play off of.
Yeah.
Even though the character had been around for, a while at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Does anyone know if she's in the Filmation? I can't remember if there's a Poison Ivy.
I can't remember if she's in any of that stuff either.
Because I know she's, she's obviously in the comics, but I don't know if she branches out into anything else. And then animation wise, she's in what? She's in Hush, right?
She's in Hush, yeah. Animated series, obviously. She's in
Right.
The Batman.
Yeah.
Brave and the Bold.
Is she in Young Justice?
Yeah. She's voiced by Alyssa Milano in Young Justice. She's in that first episode. She's in that one that we watch in New York.
I was about to say, is that the one
for
she's
New York
in?
Comic-Con. The one where Joker is teamed up with Black Adam and
Okay, right.
Ultra Humanite, I think.
That's where Brent Spiner's a Joker, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's the one where we're huddled around your iPad watching that in the apartment.
Yep, that's right.
Oh, yes. Memories. Good memories.
Yep.
And Harley Quinn, of course.
Well, yeah, of course.
Right, yeah. Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
Yeah.
To me, I would say animation.
Yeah.
There's no bigger depiction other than comics of her than in animation. And
Mhm.
they nail it every time, no matter how small it is, as opposed to every other thing.
Yeah.
I love her in comics. That's her debut, whatever. But the way they utilize her in animation, she's either the main villain, nice supporting character, or like the list is insane. The animation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you even have her in the Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
You have her
yeah.
you have her in Harley Quinn. You have her in
She's in Justice League Action, too.
she's in Justice League Action. I mean,
Upcoming Long Halloween movie she's
Mhm.
into, because the trailer for part 2 just dropped and we saw finally what she looks like in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have to go with Tommy as well. I think visually, like her bit, like her whole thing of I'm making plants come to life and, attack
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was done very well in the movie live action wise, but I think in animation, I agree with Tommy. It's always done well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go with animation too.
Yeah. As much as I love Batman and Robin,
Yeah.
I think a lot of her best moments are in animation. As great as she is in the comics, but I can name more moments in animation. I think like House and Garden from the animated series is like one of the best ones ever for her.
Right.
I think Harley and Ivy team up originates from there. I mean, she's great in the Harley Quinn show.
Right.
Mm.
Well, she's also really good in the Batgirl Supergirl episode.
Yeah.
Girls Night Out. She's great in that too.
I mean, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of really, really good ones. And comic wise, I can only really think of like there was a Tom King story arc from his run on Batman that, I mean, it like really, really powered her up. I mean, I don't know if you guys have read it. Frank, you're probably the only one that I think would have
I've read
it. But I mean, like she's like a Justice League bad guy.
Yeah.
At this point, like in that story.
Yeah. She's almost like the equivalent through her like toxins and stuff. She's almost like the Purple Man.
Yeah.
Right.
Level like of what she's able to do in that issue, in those issues.
Yeah. Yeah, it was almost like she controlled almost everybody like on the planet.
Yeah.
I feel like it was nuts. And I'm like, wow, okay. Like, can't just make her a Batman villain at that point. Like, but yeah, I say animation.
Yeah. I mean, she's fun to play in I think she's in Injustice 2.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been in other video games. I know like one of the early like PlayStation, or was it Super Nintendo Batman and Robin games? I think she's in one of those too.
Okay. Like the tie into the show?
Yeah.
Or the video or the movie.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And she was in one of the Arkhams.
she's in both.
Mhm.
She's in 3 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have to go animation too, just
Mhm.
because I think it's her best appearances. It's her most memorable appearances to me. And like I always like her in it. We've only had the one live action appearance so far, but if Margot Robbie gets her way,
Yeah.
hopefully
Yeah.
there's another live action appearance coming that teams her up with Harley.
They better.
I would like to see that.
I'm completely stunned that she has not been cast at any point. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we're going on. This is what going to be Suicide Squad is going to be the third time Margot Robbie's played her, right?
Yep.
Are we at 3?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, with talk of like a couple of other appearances of her in the works, I can't believe like I want a Harley and Ivy movie.
Right.
Like, just give me like Thelma and Louise with the two of them.
And that's what Margot Robbie wants to.
Yeah, I would love it.
It would be good.
Yeah.
I would watch it. I would
Yep.
go.
Yep. I'll sign that petition if Margot Robbie wants to start it up. Yeah.
All right, so we're all in agreement on that one. That's all in animation. Next one, Sub-Zero.
For Mortal Kombat?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's been in animation.
Well,
Uh-huh.
man, I haven't watched the new movie yet.
He's been in comics. He's been in movies, and
Yeah.
obviously video games. And I don't know if there's been was there a live act? There was a TV show, right?
TV
Yes.
show and the movies.
Okay, there you go. Sub-Zero.
The video games.
Now, if you recall, Zach, in the animation, he was voiced by Luke Perry.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That changes
if
things.
that sways your decision at all.
Yes. If you're biased by that.
I haven't seen that new animated one that came out last year either. The one that Joel McHale voices Johnny Cage. Straight to video one.
I've not seen it either.
Me either.
It's very good. He's a definite badass in that one too.
Yeah, everybody loves Sub-Zero. Yeah, video games. Tommy,
Yeah.
you're right. It's video games. Because he was always the one I liked picking. I just thought like the visual
everybody-
was so
yes.
cool. I
Sure.
thought
Well,
I was
I mean,
like
the
they're
visuals-
ninjas.
The visual's cool. The idea that you can freeze your opponent and then wail on them.
Yeah,
Who doesn't like that?
yeah. I like the stupid, silly, like freeze the ground and watch him slip, and then you
Yeah.
can like pound on him. That I thought even that was fun.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
It's a good bit.
I mean, he's definitely a heavy in the new movie.
Yes.
Spoilers.
Okay.
Spoilers.
No, I'm
he's
kidding.
a heavy. He fights. Sub-Zero fights in,
What?
Imagine that.
in
Imagine
the
that.
new Mortal Kombat movie.
Surprise, surprise. Who would have guessed?
Some good stuff, but I gotta go video game too. I gotta go video game.
Yeah. I'll make it unanimous. It's video games. I always
Okay.
chose Sub-Zero. I was never very good at Mortal Kombat.
That's why he
No,
chose
me neither.
Sub-Zero.
That's why I chose Sub-Zero because I could, like I said, I would.
Right.
the move was all I could freeze somebody and then
Yeah.
beat them up as much as I could, and then hope that they didn't like do a 2-button, 3-button, 4-button combo.
Or use Scorpion.
The worst, I
Right.
was terrible at Mortal Kombat too. For some reason, it was the same controller, but for some reason, I was way better at Street Fighter.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like I would freeze you as Sub-Zero, then I would be trying to like work up like some big combination,
Mhm.
and I would miss it completely, and like the time would wear off, and like they would thaw out and come out, and I'm like, oh man,
Right.
even this I'm messing up.
Oh,
Play.
no. The controls are hard in Mortal Kombat. Just because it wasn't like quarter movements like Street Fighter. Street
Yeah.
Fighter had to roll the controller, which I think was easier than down, up, which is
Yeah.
crazy hard with the joystick. But yeah.
All right. So we all agree. We all agree. Video games for,
Yeah.
for Sub-Zero.
Jeez.
All right. So then the last one would be. We'll go with this one. This one's a good one. Rogue.
Ooh.
What's your definitive take on Rogue?
The hell with Anna Paquin is my first iteration. Just to put that out there.
Okay. Tommy, throw down the gauntlet.
Yes. I dare somebody to pick movies. I dare somebody.
Yeah,
Sugar.
the writing's not there in the movies.
No.
I think, and
No.
nothing against her. I just think
Right.
I think the character's not captured the best.
Right.
Yeah.
It was an interesting choice to make Rogue the entry character
Yes.
Yeah.
at that point in the movies when there had been,
Kitty
you
Pryde.
know, you could have either gone Kitty Pryde or
Mhm.
Jubilee at that
Yep.
point.
Or Jubilee.
as
Absolutely.
the entry level, as the entry characters, the audience perspective.
Or if you wanted to go even further, you could have gone with Armor from like Whedon.
Well, Astonishing wasn't out quite yet then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
that
right.
was still a
Yeah,
few
right.
years later. But that was, that's another potential one to use if someone were doing it now.
Right.
So it was. I mean, the movie with Rogue was an interesting choice. I like Anna Paquin a lot, but yeah, it was an interesting choice to go that way.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go animation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
hard, right?
I'm going animation because I like X-Men Evolution a lot, and I like that Rogue in X-Men Evolution a lot.
She's so good in X-Men Evolution.
I just feel for her so much in that show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. It's
Yeah, it's
really
tough.
hard
This
because
is a
I
tough
love
one.
her in X-Men Evolution. I think I'm going to go comics on this one, though.
Okay.
I think my first choice of comics all night
Because of
is
Gambit.
this one. Yeah.
Because of Gambit.
But I love Rogue. She's like my favorite X-Men, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of Gambit.
Yeah,
Tommy.
because she loves Gambit, so I have to love her.
Okay. There you go.
Right.
Sugar.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sugar.
I say comics because costume design that's to be that guy. I just love how they dynamically changed. I mean, mind you, I still think they haven't mined Rogue to her full potential outside of comics. I want to see her be the villain introduced. I want to see her strip Captain Marvel of her powers.
Right.
I want to see her run through the X-Men and then have her powers dynamically change. I want to see her interaction with Mystique, all that stuff.
Right.
But all they reduce her to is a Southern belle who can't touch anybody in every other iteration. I think she's a complicated character if you mind her beginnings. Now, I don't think so much. But then, sure.
She's got an episode of Wolverine and the X-Men that's like top to bottom, like an adaptation of like a Silver Samurai
Right.
comic book. I forget what issue it is, but
Yeah.
like it is one of the better episodes of that show.
Right.
I think, yeah.
I remember that one.
This is tough. This is a tough one. Video games don't care so much about. The TV's not really there. Movies, no. I agree that the writing's not really there for a character, and it is weird to make her the entry. So for me, it comes down to comics or animation. I would have to go with animation.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Just because, I mean, for me, it's, as I said before, I haven't seen Evolution, but I've seen the 93 stuff, and I think there's a certain amount of, I mean, the comics, so, I mean, there's the disconnect for me for the comics, because when she's first introduced, she's much more of, I mean, she's almost a middle-aged woman.
Oh, tremendously so.
She's depicted really, and then they change that up, and they depict her as like being a good, when she joins the X-Men, they de-age her down to being in her 20s, where she definitely was not that thing at first.
Yeah, like, was the white streak supposed to be like an age signifier when it started instead
Probably
of a stylistic choice or something?
It probably was, because it was, it was one of those things where she's much older in her first handful of appearances.
Yeah. But like J. Jonah Temples, like it was trying to convey the same thing.
Yeah, I think so. But
I have a theory.
Okay, what's your theory?
My theory is, one, she hung out with some old ass women.
Well, there's that too. That's what I thought too.
So her costume change would depict what they would think she should wear. And two, after leeching the power and somewhat of the age of Captain Marvel, it regresses her age or her appearance.
Okay.
It affects her physically and not only strength, but appearance.
Not a bad take, but when she still joins the X-Men, she's still rocking that look for a while.
Oh, she becomes sexy for no reason.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They de-age her and they play up her looks, and she doesn't. I mean, there's like, I'm thinking of like the Paul Smith stuff. She still looks like Rogue.
Oh no, definitely. But after that, after I think 200 around that time, yeah, she becomes sexy Rogue.
But yeah. I mean, the thing is that she's the character in the comics just became real one note for me. Mm-hmm. I can't be with anybody. I can't touch anybody. Mm-hmm. Only when I use my powers. Blah 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 blah. Whereas in the cartoon, in the 93 version, she's a lot more joyful.
Yeah.
And there's this one
in the 93,
the 90 ones.
Yeah, in the 90s one, the Fox one. There's a lot more. She revels in her power. It's not a burden. She's not. There's not so much of that. Oh, this sucks. I can't be with it. I mean, it's still there. Obviously, it's part of her origin and stuff.
Yeah,
but it's not quite the same.
And she's the powerhouse of the team.
There's that too.
With that current lineup too, which is cool.
Right. There's that aspect of it too that they don't really use a lot. In the comics, is the idea that she's, she uses her power. Like there's some episodes where she uses her powers in really creative ways. But the idea that she's the muscle is always a cool thing for that show too. So I'm gonna go animation. So do we have 2 comics and 2 animation?
Yeah, no, I may change my vote to animation.
Last minute recount.
Sweet.
No, because Frank, because you're reminding me too that I can sometimes remember the 90s show with like more nostalgia than me actually liking it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But no, I mean, you're right. I mean, she does stand out in that show too.
Right.
A lot. And she does have a lot of good episodes of that as well. In addition to X-Men Evolution, her being, I think, my favorite character also.
Right.
Faith.
Yeah.
When she turns into Faith, X-Men Evolution.
Yeah. So no comics for me today. Oh, no. I said Veronica in comics. Okay,
You did.
one comic. Yeah.
No, I thought you said Riverdale for Veronica.
No. I said they make her likable in Riverdale, and I feel like the crux of it, while I appreciate that, but I feel like the crux of it is that she's supposed to be also kind of a jerk.
Okay.
A bit,
Gotcha.
So, all right, awesome. So we are going to close out the same way that we closed the first Definitive 5, which we're going to go around and we're going to say a character or property that we think should have a presence in another medium that they don't already have. But first, if you like the show, you can check out all of our episodes on YouTube and letmeknowhowitis.com. Just please, however you find us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. Finally, if you have any ideas for a topic, you can send them our way on Twitter or in the comments. Our Twitter handle is our show's initials, LMKHII. All right, so who's going first? Name a character or property and where you would like to see it.
All right, I'm going to go out on something a little unexpected, but Dredd, Judge Dredd.
Okay.
As a what?
As a TV show.
As a TV show. Live action TV show.
Live action TV show.
Okay.
I don't think there's been one. Has there not been a Judge Dredd TV show ever?
No. I don't think there's been.
I don't believe there has been.
You wouldn't know if there is, because it'd be the goriest thing you've ever seen.
And I would like to see one, especially after the Carl Urban Dredd from a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
I would like that to continue as a show.
Okay.
If possible.
Any what home would you like for it to be? HBO?
I mean, one
FX?
of the streamers. One of the streamers that would just let them do whatever stories they want to tell in Mega City 1.
Okay. Cool. That's a good pick. I like that one.
It's a cool setting that we only ever get to see a little piece of in the 2 movies there have been.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in Dredd, that works great that we're only seeing one piece of it, because it's just like tearing through this one building, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see the different parts of it.
Yeah, you want to see the world building aspect.
Yeah.
Of it. Yeah. No, it's a good one. Tommy, Frank.
You know what? God of War, the live action movie.
Okay.
It's a good one.
We probably get it as a cartoon. We got it as a video game, of course, because that's the only iteration seen of that. But I'd love to see some idiot be painted all white and just kill people mercilessly on a level of No, you know what? I rescind that, because I think we've gotten that before. It's just terrible. It's Clash of the Titans. It didn't work as well. Back to the drawing board. No.
Okay.
Not at all.
All right, I'll go with mine.
Okay.
I'm hoping I didn't say this one for the first episode that we did. Because I really don't remember what I said for it. But I am going to say Vixen.
Okay.
As a movie.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And my thing right now is I'm going through a big James Bond phase right now, where I'm watching a lot of the old movies. And one of the things that I love about James Bond is how big a part the product placement and the cars and the style and all of that plays a part for the movies, for the whole franchise. And I'm there's begging to be like a female action hero where they get to flex those muscles. Right. And so I'm Vixen being the fact that she was a supermodel. Right. And kind of globetrotting. I'm it just sets itself up perfect to be it's gonna be the movie where we're gonna showcase all these purses and shoes and awesome cars and ball gowns and stuff like that. And I just feel I think it'd be really cool if women had a version like that for movies to geek out about. So yeah, so I say Vixen. I think Vixen would be a good avenue for that. And I think, interesting powers too. I think that there's a lot of fun scenarios that you could put that character in. I think
she's a good character.
Yeah.
She's had solid appearances so far in animation and TV. Legends of Tomorrow, I think she was in, right? Or a version of her.
Yeah, I think so, right?
And
yeah,
Arrow.
or she's in the Arrowverse somewhere. I forget where she pops up first.
She's in Arrow first, and then she ends up in Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
No, I'm gonna go with Wonder Woman, the animated series.
Yeah.
Because why not?
It's a crime.
It is.
Yes.
It's a crime.
Because why not? You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
I find they think it's hard to have a woman lead an animated series. You could probably count on your hand how many times you've seen that occur.
Right.
And what better person than probably the most preferred to or famous female superhero?
Yeah. And it's not even that she hasn't had one in a while.
She's never had
Like she's never had one.
Yeah,
Right.
at all.
Just
You
a
know.
guest in an ensemble, or just an ensemble piece.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If they're gonna have 7 of them, yeah, throw one of them in it. You know,
Yeah, like she's never been the lead in anything. And
No.
it's and you would think also because they tend to like to coincide a cartoon when a major movie comes out. Like
Yeah.
we've now gotten 2 Wonder Woman movies
Right.
and no coinciding cartoon.
none.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, I'm completely perplexed how it's never happened.
Or broached.
Right.
I've got mine.
Okay.
I was thinking about it. We talked about it before in another episode. About I think it's in the episode of things that didn't get made. I think,
Mhm.
and we talked about there not being. They decided to not go with a Captain America animated.
Mhm.
I think having I think back to it's like the 60s maybe, where you have like the original Marvel animated shorts or those animated movies, not animated movies, animated episodes.
Right.
Mhm.
We had those back then, and we really haven't had another. I think Captain America is much like Wonder Woman, where he hasn't had his own series.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've had a bunch of Fantastic Fours or Spider-Mans or Hulks or Iron Mans even,
Right.
but there hasn't really been a devoted Captain America animated series.
Right.
And I think that's something that surprisingly, with as popular as the character is after the movies, and with the idea that Chris Evans is kind of done, there's not been any kind of mouth. So we're going to continue on with Captain America in his own animated series.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's one of those gaping, holes in their animated department that they could definitely do if they did a Captain America animated series.
Okay. I'd watch all of these. These are all great.
I have an update on my Dread one, apparently. Apparently, the exact thing I said is in early development.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay.
it might happen.
Oh, good.
He just wished it into reality.
I just wished it into being and found an
Yep.
update from like a month ago about it, where it's TV series is aiming to be a wider exploration of Judge Dredd's fictional world, focusing on the titular hero as he takes down street thugs while also telling other stories in the monstrous Mega City 1. Carl Urban is in quote-unquote early talks to potentially reprise the role.
Of course.
So that's
Very
as far as
cool.
we are. It's in early stages of development. So it is a
Nice.
thing that could happen, and I want it to happen.
Get a good art director. That's
Yeah.
what I hope. Don't make the look of it boring.
Right.
A show or
As a show, as a live action show.
it'll work.
Mm.
Especially this day and age.
Awesome. All right. Clifton's got some strange powers. Man.
This is true.
All right. Okay, listeners, tell us your thoughts in the comments, or you can hit us up on Twitter, of course, as always. We'll post links and examples to everything we talk about on letmeknowhowitis.com. Please remember to like us and follow us on social media. We will see you next time. Thanks for listening.